The self-help space is obviously very crowded. It's really hard to get through the noise and find books that have been written by people that actually took the time to complete some hard research, who put in the hours to come up with some unique ideas and then actually add some value. But Brendon Burchard has done this many times in his career, most notably with high-performance habits. For those of you who don't know, Brendon is one of the leaders of the educational platform movement. He's one of the first people to understand the power of the entire industry that we now call, quote, influencers. In fact, the first webinar presentation I ever made was an online presentation which taught you how to make webinars. In 2017, he finished High Performance Habits, which is one of my favorite books on the topic of really optimal performance, getting the best out of yourself, getting the best out of those around you. This book is approachable because he uses a lot of storytelling, but it's also extremely practical and completely filled with nourishing, rich content. I actually use this book as a style guide for the book that I'm currently working on, almost done with, which is Raising Capital for Real Estate, which, by the way, if you're not already subscribed to our mailing list on cashflowconnections.com, you should be, because we're going to be giving out access to some free goodies when this thing launches, including a video series which I recorded called Closing Strategies for High Net Worth Investors, which I'm very, very happy about. We've just recorded, it's done. So anyway, the point of High Performance Habits is that Brendon has worked with, interviewed, and surveyed hundreds of people who are in the top 1% of their field, and he analyzed the results and found a few key takeaways, most notably habits that seem to be very popular with high performers. So in this Monday Minutes, I'm going to highlight 3 of the 6 high performance habits, and I'll let you know some of my thoughts on how you can enhance your own. And of course, some of this will be mentioned in the book, and some of this will be my personal anecdotes. And the first one is really, really strong. And I like that it's the first one, kind of flows into the others as well, which is seek clarity. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to interact with? What are your most significant goals? Having a very clear sense of that is going to really help you. Before doing anything, you have to understand why you're going to do that and what you're going to do specifically. And this is also going to help us talk about number 4 in just a moment. High performers are constantly asking this question for a lot of reasons. Most importantly, it's highly motivating. Also, seeing the field that you're playing on with a clear vision will allow you to navigate challenging decisions optimally. Sometimes overcoming challenging decisions can be the difference between someone who's a high performer and someone who just struggles to pay the bills. So all of this, all the rest of the high performance habits, in my opinion, really flow from seek clarity. Because if you don't have a clear sense of where you're trying to go or why you're trying to do it or what you're trying to accomplish, everything else is basically just a waste of time, and there's no way to measure those key performance indexes, which will actually allow you to grow your business. So high performance habit number 2 is generate energy. In order to win at the long game of business, you have to be able to maintain stamina. You have to be able to be physically strong, have physical energy. You have to have positive emotions. And there's a lot of specific ways that you can do this. Of course, Brendon talks about working out in this chapter, eating healthy. But one of the things that he touches on that I've become a huge proponent of is meditation. I'm sure a lot of listeners of this program already are meditating, but I bet there's some out there that do not. I cannot tell you how long I resisted this. So I had been listening to the likes of Tim Ferriss, Joe Rogan, Tony Robbins, all these people who are obsessed with optimal health, and all of these arrows were pointing me towards meditation, but it never really clicked. I just thought like it wasn't for me. Then in about 2016, things started to go very well for me professionally. I started to become really busy. I started to really be focusing on productivity. I thought, okay, maybe I need a little bit of a boost, and I downloaded Headspace, which is a meditation app in iTunes. I have meditated every weekday since then, unless I was on vacation, and even sometimes if I was on vacation, I did about 10 minutes in the morning. And the truth of it is, it doesn't completely change your life, but the cost-benefit ratio is insanely favorable. If you haven't started meditating yet, you're really leaving money on the table. And if you're scared to do this because you're worried that it may make you lose your edge, don't be. I know a lot of people that think you have to be mad, you have to be grinding, you have to just out-hustle yourself all the time in order to be financially successful. Nothing can be further from the truth. In fact, sometimes taking a step back just to analyze your own thoughts can give you a perspective on the important issues that you couldn't see if you just have your head down tackling tasks in front of you as they come up. So in terms of generating energy, meditation is a great way to do that. One of the things he talks about is instead of taking breaks in between tasks to focus on social media or to kind of waste time, he says, take a step away from your desk and do a mantra, which really focuses on setting your intention for the next task as opposed to, playing on your phone or something like that, which can be really draining emotionally, but also visually, staring at that lit screen like that. So anyway, definitely focus on taking a few breaths. Even if you count to 5 breaths, that sometimes can be as long as 30 seconds, depending on how fast you breathe. That 30 seconds can allow you to work from, a typical 8-hour day to a 12-hour day without really feeling like you're just burning on both ends. Number 3 is raise necessity. I'm sure you've heard a lot of people in this business talk about, quote, finding your why. This is absolutely critical if you're going to play at a high level. And this is really related to number 1, which is seek clarity. Now, why is it absolutely necessary that you need to succeed at a high level? Who is counting on you? What are your own internal beliefs about your own success? So from Brendon's perspective, there's basically 2 types of reasons why your own success is necessary. Number 1, your internal reasons, and number 2, your external demands. So let's talk about those in order. Internal reasons. These are your own beliefs, your own values, your personal perception of what is considered to be unacceptable, desirable, and absolutely mandatory. Your external demands, these are needs and wishes of others in your life, especially people that are close to you, family members, friends that you trust and love and are counting on you. These are things like social obligations, competition with your peers, people mentioning you in public, deadlines that you promised other people, basically external accountability. So where do you get your motivations from? For some people, the internal reasons are the most important. For other people, the internal things aren't really that motivating, but having someone else that they can depend on for like that additional accountability is really solid. But I think, to be honest with you, a good combination of both is really important. This is something that I talk about in Raising Capital for Real Estate, this book that I'm almost done with. Your willpower is limited. There have been many studies on this. In particular, people's willpower fades throughout the day, especially if they're put in challenging situations over and over again during the day. For example, the temptation to procrastinate or waste time on social media. It starts to fade towards the afternoon. And the same is true over the long run. So if you're really trying to increase your sense of urgency, increase those external demands. I started posting my workouts on Instagram. Most of the time, people don't even care what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm talking about. I use too many abbreviations, and most people aren't really into this type of stuff in terms of working out that I'm into. But just knowing that there's this little extra boost that someone's going to see what I did. Someone's going to see my time. Someone's going to see my reps. It really helps me motivated to get that extra set in. And anything like that, again, is just really favorable on a cost-adjusted basis. The same is true in business. If you're the type of person that has a lot of either internal or external motivation, try to increase the other. You'll find that having a good balance of both means that you don't just have to rely on one of those things, especially if you're one of those people that really considers themselves to be a lone wolf when it comes to seeking their own motivation. Man, it feels so good to encourage other people and involve them, and really increases that accountability. Get some witnesses. Even if it's just you yourself, you are the it factor. You can also find other people that are similar in that and can motivate each other by just being internally motivating for each other. I know that's counterintuitive, but it's something that I've found a lot because that definitely describes where I get a lot of my motivation. All right, that's all for now. Stay tuned for the High Performance Habits number 4, 5, and 6, one of my favorite books on the topic of optimal productivity and efficiency. All right, listeners, you know the routine. This show is all about learning, making wise investments, and protecting and growing your capital. So if you're interested in these topics, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Of course, if you've already enjoyed a couple of great episodes, don't be shy. Leave a review. It really helps the show's visibility. And lastly, if you're an accredited investor and you're interested in learning more about our investment opportunities, the types of deals that I personally invest in, go to asymcapital.com. That's ASYMcapital.com. Thanks a lot.